I'm hitting live now
Okay.
because I'm gonna have to share it too. There we go. We are live. I saw it just pop up. All right. Good evening, everyone. We are live for a special edition of the Working Wednesdays broadcast. I am your host, Audra V. Hurd. I'm the CEO of IBG Publications. I'm so excited about our special edition today. We're going to take a few moments to just like, share, and tag the video out. I am assisting my guest to make sure we get the video shared out for her. We've been working together for the last 3 or 4 months. It has been an absolute joy working with her and bringing her up to speed on her brand and sharing and this technology. y'all
Yes.
know, y'all know technology can be challenging for some of us, even me too, as long as I've been doing it. But on the IBG Publications page, we are live there, so you can go ahead and share the video out. I'm going to go ahead and share it. Have you had the chance to see it yet, Dr. Monica?
Yes, I'm sending it and sharing it now.
Okay, good, good, good stuff. All right, so I need to go back and share as myself. So y'all just give us a few moments just to share it out. No, I don't want to watch on the TV. There we go. All right, we appreciate those who have been joining us thus far. So we're just taking a few moments to like and share the video out. All right. Are we ready? We good to go?
Yes.
Awesome. 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 So I'm so excited to have you on today for this special edition of the Working Wednesdays broadcast. I'm so excited to see you in your doctor's garb so we can talk about your journey and how far
Yes.
you have come. So I'm excited. How you feeling tonight? How's it going?
I have my second win now. Let me just say that. Had a lot going on today, but I am super excited and just grateful for this opportunity. And as we get to get started, I do want to personally just thank you for being that push that I often needed. You often talked about delivery. And we all know delivery, natural and spiritual, we have to have that support system. So I do really, really do thank God for putting you in my life during this season. And I do see many more things coming to pass. And I am very appreciative, very appreciative.
Awesome, awesome. It's been a blessing. I know we had actually started talking about your book sometime last year in October, November, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that your journey has been like 27 years in the making. So talk to us a little bit about the journey, how long it's taken. What do you think some obstacles have been? Even, include your whole journey of getting to becoming doctor.
Mhm.
You can talk about that as well. So let's just talk about your journey for a minute.
I've always had the insight to want to talk to different people. And I always say, I never meet a stranger. So encouraging somebody, educating somebody, I can be in the store and just asking somebody, hey, are you in school? Especially if they're young,
Hmm.
trying to see what their goals are. What are you doing? Or if I just have that feeling or that unction that I need to speak to somebody. And even on jobs or when I've been in school, people find it easy to come talk to me. Not everybody, but a lot of bodies. And I just feel like that God has given me a gift to be able to meet people's needs, during that time. I have been in this field since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
Started out, yeah. as a CNA. I remember graduating from high school
Mm.
June 4th, 1994. I was in a CNA program already by that October. We graduated from the CNA program that Friday. By that Monday, I was already working. I've always worked with the elderly or with the youth or with the underprivileged or the underserved. In those settings, I feel like there's more of a need. I've never felt the stranger in those areas. I've always felt the connection. And so even with that with school, that ladder was steep, but God, I went from CNA to LPN to my associate's degree in nursing, my bachelor's in nursing, my master's, and then my doctorate, and then my dual certification as an MP. And I think my greatest reward has now been seeing my children, the foundations that's been, placed, and seeing the things that they're now doing. They're in the medical field. Um, my mom is in the medical field. And some people say, well, how did you know that this is what you would want to do? When you know, you know.
Mhm.
I've tried to run from it in different things. I went to school for cosmetology. I went to school for ultrasonography. In those times and in those seasons, the turning point for me was my grandmother was ill. I want to say it was the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and went into her room at the hospital. And the state of care that she was left in, I had to ask myself at that time, would I want her to have someone taking care of her like those that are, or those like me? And so from that point on, that's been my real push, going from LPN to getting my doctorate. As we all know, not a lot of people with doctorates look like me, talk like me.
Mhm.
I grew up on the east side of Jacksonville, and a lot of people would have said I would have graduated, not graduated. I would have, had a baby, before I got married. I've been married to my husband 23 years now. We just celebrated.
Mhm.
So the encouraging piece of it comes also from my support system at home. My foundation at home is solid. My church family foundation is solid. I've been a member of our church now, this past January, 21 years. So I have the spiritual plus I have the natural foundation that keeps me balanced.
Mhm.
And as far as what I do every day, medical and behavioral health to me goes hand in hand. And I have the opportunity to be able to not only prescribe, because I tell people there's a pill under the sun for everything. But if we don't deal with the corporate or the reason of why we're having to take something, we'll always have to take a medication.
Mhm.
So my jobs have given me the opportunity to be free in those areas, the counseling piece of it. And a lot of times just the encouragement is what individuals need to know and know, okay, I may not be going through the same thing, but I've been through something. So let me
Mhm.
just hear you. And so that's kind of what has helped me on this journey. Now, I can say, as far as this book, I've always wanted to do it. And when you and I first, because when I reached out to you last year, I had an unction to want to do it. And then I was like, oh, okay, I got too much going on, not right now. But I had to learn that what I instill in others, I have to instill in myself.
Mhm.
And you were so persistent, which was just awesome, because you would send me something and you would say, just checking on you, da 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 da. And what wound up happening is that I've been so busy in life that sometimes it takes an illness or a sickness or something to slow me down. Well, in this instance, it was my husband,
Mhm.
COVID-19. As a provider that was prescribing, tests for people for COVID, I was calling people, letting them know they were positive for COVID, educating them. In our home, all of us work on the front line, but we were all safe, right? That's what
Mhm.
we thought.
Right.
Second weekend in January, I believe, my husband, it was like a Thursday, he came home, just didn't look right. I said, well, we need to test you. Test him, he was positive. So
Mhm.
he, didn't want fear to set in. I'm like, okay, let me put to use and do what I know to do. We had a makeshift hospital here at home. And I thank God for my
Wow.
daughter, because my daughter, being a nurse, she was able to jump in and help me. We were giving him meds around the clock. We was getting him out of the bed and outside, making sure he was doing his deep breathing, making sure he was eating. And the thing about that is that I was so concerned about him, I wasn't concerned about myself. As a
Mm.
caregiver, we have to make sure that we're doing what we need to do as well, because when we get burnt out and down,
Right.
then what? So for 10 days, he was sick. He went from 246 to 222 in 10 days.
Wow. Wow.
I watched him, curl up like a baby. He felt
Mm.
like, he was helpless, hopeless. And one of the key things I did was I made sure every day he got up out of that bed, he came out of that room, because so many people will bog themselves down, and
Yeah.
that's when depression sets in.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
especially for a man, being over their home, they feel like the wife is doing everything, and he kept apologizing. I said, no, there's no apologies.
Right.
But that's when it comes in for better or for worse, right?
Yes. Yes.
So as he got better, um, then I started to feel kind of right, but I kept pushing.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to sleep in different rooms.
Mm.
We've all this time we've never had to do this,
Yeah.
and it felt like it was so much division, but then it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my body was tired mentally, that is when God began to download in me a lot of the encouraging words or affirmations that I would give to other people. And honestly, that's what got me through, because
Mm.
every day I was anxious to see what else that God would download in me. And it was some of the stuff he was getting. I was like, oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. So
Mm-hmm.
the same thing that I've taught and I show individuals, coping skills. I had to utilize coping skills. I was journaling, is what
Mm.
that wound up being. And
Mm-hmm.
so I could read back something to myself, and it gave me a second wind to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, maybe a couple of days later, I got sick. I was only sick
Mm-hmm.
for 6 days. And it was
Wow.
the darndest thing, because three swabs in this nose was positive, three in this swab and this nose was negative. I
Wow.
had I had my daughter to do another test, same thing. So I treated
Hmm.
myself as if it was positive. Day 6, I tested myself, both nostrils were negative. And I just felt like grace and mercy was being given at that time.
Mm.
With my husband, 9 days is when I pretty much wrote. Birthing out is 9. On the
Mm-hmm.
10th
Mm-hmm.
day, he had, some symptoms, but not as severe. Perfection. So it was some
Mm.
things that God was showing me was time to birth out, some
Mm.
things that need to be perfected. And in that, I had to be obedient. I had to know that things had to be balanced. And with those things, there was a calmness that then became upon me, because we were dealing with what could have been death.
Right. Right.
There was a cousin in Atlanta. Her husband passed that Sunday. She
Mm-hmm.
passed that Thursday, COVID.
Mm. Mm.
17-year-old son.
Wow.
He had no symptoms, but now his parents are no longer here. And so when I
Okay.
thought about my husband and I, it could have been the same.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, my day basically meant removing a distressful call. And how do we do
Mm.
that? We
Mm-hmm.
have to turn May Day into my day by identifying stressors and triggers that cause us to have anxiety, depression, thoughts of wanting to harm ourselves or harm someone else, racing thoughts, things that we know just are not of God, and just know that are not normal or typical.
Yeah.
In that, having the family support was very important.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have to know community and family support you need. But then what do you do when you don't have that?
Right.
That's when having the opportunity to learn how to journal, how to cope, how to listen to music, find different things to keep your mind activated. Because if not, deactivation is waiting, just around the corner. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, with this book, when I saw the cover and when I started seeing stuff coming together, it's amazing how you have a dream and then it becomes a vision. But you have to have individuals to help you with that, because we don't know everything.
Right.
And so that's basically kind of what got me, to this point.
Wow. You have said so much in such a small period of time. I have so much I want to, bridge from what you said. First of all, I want to go back to your career journey. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know you started as a CNA.
I did. And long-term care will always be a passion of mine. Adult
Hmm.
gerontology nurse practitioner is my first, that's my first certification for nurse practitioner. And then I have the second one that does the one for psych, but it does from birth to the end of life.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the connection for me is all the same.
Yeah.
Medical you cannot sustain without behavioral wellness. And I never say behavioral illness because it's only an illness if we do not identify it. And
Right.
so I can remember, 18, you're young and impressionable. You don't really, people say stuff, you take it to heart, you don't take it to heart. I remember a CNA that was older, a lot older, and she
Hmm.
made the statement to me, one person cannot make a difference.
Wow. Wow.
And when she said that, I was like, you are very disgruntled. Just not encouraging at all. And I'm gonna tell you, that came back to my mind when I graduated in 2018 from the University of North Florida. I can remember sitting in the on the floor in a sea of people, and I was like, my God, what one person said I wasn't able to do, God has
Hmm.
allowed me to be on a platform. And the thing that was
Mm.
so ironic was that was the first doctorate psych program that they had. And I was the first African American female to pass their boards for that
Mm.
psych program. And so when I encourage people in different things, I let them know you can make a difference. You don't have to listen to the naysayers because the naysayers sometimes can be talking out of their own hurt or
Hmm.
they could be talking out of their own pain. And sometimes it's just easier for them not to encourage you because it's harder for them to accept what they should be already, getting you to do or to help you to be able to do. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that was a trying journey.
Hmm.
And all throughout, school, working 2 and 3 jobs, being a wife, having kids, being in ministry, being a daughter, being a friend, all those things played, a instrumental part. But there were times when I felt like, you know what, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is a lot. I
Yeah.
don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Mm.
Because then it came to the point where people saw me as the nurse, or they saw me as, let me call her for this. But it was, very far few in between. Let me see how you're doing today, sis.
Mm.
Hey, let me just do this for you. Because what was happening was is that when we present that we have it all together,
Yeah.
people think we have it all together.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so the strong need more help than the weak because
Hmm.
if the strong don't get the help, how can we help the weak?
Right. Right.
And so this journey has taught me a lot where everyone is not a urgency for me.
Hmm.
Every situation can't be an urgency for me. I'm learning that self-care has to be number one because if I don't take care of me, I have too many people and things that are attached to me that's depending on me.
Yes.
And so I
Yes.
know to reach in to get my help from God. But then
Hmm.
God also says, I give you wisdom and knowledge and understanding.
Hmm.
And so when
Hmm.
we don't understand those things, it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
But being an African American female in the field that I'm in, there were times where there were there were times where we felt out of place.
Mm.
As we felt like we did not deserve a seat at the table.
Wow.
Um, were we treated fairly? No.
Wow.
Were there jobs that I was overlooked for? Yes.
Mm.
By my own kind at times.
Wow.
And then, it gets to the point now, I have my doctorate, but there's some individuals that don't want to call me Dr. Johnson.
Mm.
And that's fine. In the professional arena, respect, you
Yeah.
would think it's across
Yeah.
the board, but it's not. And I
Mm.
promise you, I had an interview with a big company here in Jacksonville in 2018.
Hmm.
And when I did the interview, what the doctor told me was, he says, I need you to understand that I'm here and you're here.
Mm.
And I said, well, what exactly does that mean?
Hmm.
It. just those type of things, intimidating. But
Mhm.
my thing is that spirit of fear I don't have.
Mhm.
I've been through many fires, unburned, untouched, and still standing because I
Mhm.
feel like there's a multitude of people, situations, and issues that still need to be addressed. Some
Mhm.
doors that still need to be tore down.
Mhm.
And the only way we do that is to stay consistent and persistent.
Yeah.
But that ladder is still a climbing ladder because we're forever learning. And I tell a lot of individuals, you can do it if that's something that you're wanting to do. And the thing that is such a blessing is that my daughter had the opportunity to not have to endure a lot of the things that I did.
Mm.
And so when she was in high school, she did, I think it was the dual enrollment. And so, when they do dual enrollment, they just want to throw them in classes. And I say, no, if this is something that's going to be, not charged, let's make sure it counts. I was very involved even then. So once she graduated from high school at 17.
Mm.
And so she got her CNA. Now it was a little different for her. She had
Mhm.
never really taken care of other people, so that didn't last for her. So I know, okay, she needs some more grooming. And so what wound up happening was she graduated with her associates. I made sure what classes she needs to have. She got in her first time at Chamberlain for nursing, went all the way through without a hiccup. And at 21, she had just turned 21 and had her bachelor's of science in nursing. And that's a blessing because it could have been different.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
could have been different. So a lot of those challenges she hasn't had to endure. She's going to have her own because this is a different era that we're in. But she is stern enough. She's strong enough to be able to endure
Wow. Wow. I just want to say this to you as, we serve as dual sisters, sisters in the
it.
body of Christ,
Yeah.
sisters in the black race. And I
Mhm.
just want to say that I salute you. I salute you. I celebrate you for being on the front lines because you put your life in danger. And then you were, even though it was your husband and it was a no brainer to take care of your husband, you still were putting your life in danger. So that was a sacrifice,
Yeah.
and I can talk about my personal experiences with you. And I meant to say this in one of our sessions, but I didn't because I didn't want to start crying. And I think I might start crying now.
Oh, now I'm a big water bag now.
But I remember, and I don't know if you do, but I remember when my mother was alive, and I remember you in the church. I'm about to cry. At church, I remember a couple times when my mom got sick, and you were nurse on duty, and you may have felt like I'm just doing my duty, here in ministry or whatever the case is. But I appreciate, you stepping in and being in your calling.
Thank you.
You've
Thank you.
said to me several times, I appreciate you being in your calling, but I appreciate you being in your calling, for
Thank you.
being there and taking care of my mom like you did. Thank you.
Now, see, I was doing good.
I know. I was too.
Oh, I was doing good.
and, and the other experience I remember having with you, and we talked about this when we
Yeah.
first started meeting, how you were my aunt's nurse practitioner at the time.
Hmm.
And so your bedside manner, I want to just say this for any healthcare professional listening. Your bedside manner means everything,
Yeah.
regardless of someone's situation, if they got themselves in it, if it's their own
Hmm.
fault that they're ill,
Hmm.
as a clinician, as a practitioner, doctor, nurse, whatever, how you treat a person means everything to their well being, for them getting better,
Yes.
because you never know the contact that you have with them, the impact. Your
Hmm.
contact can make an impact on someone's healing,
That's right.
someone's restoration. When my mom
Yes.
first got sick, she had a bad experience with the people who diagnosed her. And
Mm.
I believe that experience dampened the mentality
Yeah.
that she had to get better.
Yes.
because they blamed her. Why did you wait so long? And you knew
Mhm.
you were ill. They talked to her like that. So she had a
Wow.
bad experience, with the healthcare industry to me across the board. And I personally think it affected her ability to get well. That's
Exactly.
that's my
Exactly.
personal thought.
And the
You
thing
know,
is, because it makes them feel like it was their fault.
right.
And there are a lot of healthcare professionals that don't need to be in the field that they're in,
Mm-hmm.
period. But then we do have some that really know that it's not a job when you know you've been called to do it. Yes, we
Mm-hmm.
get frustrated at times because we're human,
Right.
but at the same time, I can tell you, I quit my job probably every day in my mind. And I get up and I keep going. And I'm gonna tell you, the COO of where I currently work, he asked me, he says, Dr. Johnson, kind of tell me why do you do what you do as far as psych and behavioral health?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what a lot of people don't know. At an early age, I had thoughts of wanting to hurt myself. I did.
Mm. Wow.
Um, as a young adult, I had those thoughts again of wanting to hurt myself. Wouldn't, don't know where they would come from, but they would come.
Mm-hmm.
And people can look at individuals and judge and not know where they've been and what they've come from and what they may be going back to. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
for me, when you have those type of thoughts, you're dealing with depression, your self-esteem, may not be where it needs to be. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, what I had to identify with is that that's not the mindset that I should have.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be able to identify where this is coming from and then let me work through it.
Yep.
And so even during that time, I became my very first patient. Now let my husband tell
Mm.
it, he's my first patient, but I became my first patient. And
Mm.
the mindset that I start to take on, and there was a nurse that I used to work with a long time ago, and I just picked this up and I ran with it. And what I say is that I want the work that I do today to speak for me and
Mm-hmm.
live on even when I'm gone.
Yes.
And even just yesterday, I had a client to give me just some words of encouragement herself. And a lot of my clients, they think I'm helping them, but they helping me because I see them getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But I told her, when you go to your next date, da 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 da, I can discharge you. I feel like you're good. And then she said, no, 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 Miss Johnson. I have to keep coming to you. I can't go anywhere else. Even when it's done, I'm coming to you. And just when when people are comfortable sharing things that they've never told anybody, and they end the session and say, I just felt comfortable with you that
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, anybody that works in this field, that can be heavy.
Yeah.
But one of the blessings God has given me is once I end my sessions, once those visits end, God don't allow me to wear it. If I
Mm.
revisit it, it's only to pray over that situation.
Right.
And I don't think I would have been able to be 27 years in. And
Mm-hmm.
let me knock on some heavy wood. I haven't had to go before a court. I have
Mm.
not been, reported to the Board of Health.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any of those things done. And I honestly believe that I not only follow the natural policies that a company put out, I follow to the best of my ability what God sets out. And I really feel like that's what covers me, keeps
Mm-hmm.
me, it gives me what I need when I need it. And then I get to the point where I understand, okay, Monica, time to slow down a little bit. It's time to take some rest. Because if not, my body has taught me it makes me sick when I don't.
Mm.
And even when my husband had gotten sick, even though I was at home, I was still working.
Mm.
I was working two different jobs from home, telehealth.
Wow. Wow.
So I still did not have any rest. And even when I was positive, I was still logging on, still calling and educating other people about their
Wow.
COVID test being positive. Do this, and this. And many of them would say, thank you for taking the time because many people won't. And I
Mm-hmm.
had many people to say, God bless you. I'm
Mm.
praying for you. And
Mm.
so we just never know who we're entertaining.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
in that gave me strength too. But this thing is a process. It is. It's a process. Some days it's a struggle, but it's a process.
Mhm. Mhm. I want to just, and this is not really on our subject, but when you said that, I'm just curious. When I bring certain people on, I be, trying to find out stuff for myself.
I'm open. I'm open.
But you said that because I've never been tested for COVID. Thank God I have not
Yeah.
had it to my knowledge.
Hmm.
But you
Hmm.
said you can be positive in one nostril
And
and
negative.
negative in the
Hmm.
other. I
It's
did
a
not
false
know that.
negative. Yep. It can be a false negative or it can be a false positive. So you would just treat it as if it's positive. Hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
So you had
Yep.
contracted it too then, right?
Yeah, and the thing about it was is that the one job I was at, we actually got tested December the 28th was
Mm-hmm.
negative. And
Mm-hmm.
so my husband, I want to say it was MLK weekend. So that Thursday before MLK is when he came home and he was sick. But,
Wow.
didn't want to wear his mask up all the time like he's supposed to, had a facial beard, so that seal wasn't really there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he more so felt bad because he felt like he brought it in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to have that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I was really grateful because financially we were good. If we needed to get medicine from the store, we were able to purchase it. If we needed to order food, I called. Now Walmart messed my order up, but it was still a godsend because we didn't have to really leave. But it was the fact that we had access to what we needed, and many people don't.
Yeah.
My friend Kim, she didn't care we had COVID or not. She put her mask on and she would come and bring things and make sure we didn't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a
again,
bestie.
that
That's a
support system,
bestie.
that's my bestie. We go up
Mm-hmm.
and down, in and out, but we stay strong.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people are asymptomatic, which means they have no symptoms at all.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the individuals that are able to spread it even the more. And so I'm gonna just go on this little bit real quick. But I know with the vaccinations, a lot of people now are fearful because of what's going on with the Johnson and Johnson. All I can say is do your research. The vaccinations itself, they are authorized for emergency use, which means the FDA can't 100% cover it or be behind it until they do studies. So these things that are coming out now with the clots, and people have to understand there were people that were positive for COVID that were having clots, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were having clots as symptoms, and that was one of the big things that we were hearing at one point. These individuals that did test positive, yes, they're going to research and they're going to see if they had any, health conditions prior to. But my question as a provider is, had this person tested positive already? Had they been tested prior to getting it done? And, clearly, were they one that was going to their providers every year for updates and checkups? So it's a lot that goes into that. But out of the million doses, it was six. Now, varicella, MMR, DTaP, HIB, all those type of vaccinations, that was pretty much before our time almost, for some of us, but they kind of went through the same thing. And so now everybody that has gotten the vaccination, everybody that will get the vaccination, you're a part of this study. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you have symptoms, there's a number that they give you on your card. Go, call that number, or did they tell you to go online to put in your symptoms? Put in your symptoms. My mom, my sister, one of my brothers, and my niece went and got the Johnson and Johnson this past weekend. And when I talked to my mom, she said the first night she had some swelling to her leg. Then she had some cramping to her feet. And I said, well, make sure you go on that site to put your information in. Could it have been, from that? We don't know, but you had gotten a vaccination and those were your symptoms. Now the other three in the home, nothing. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to do our due diligence and we have to weigh the cost. Is it beneficial for us to get it or not get it? Then you have to ask yourself, if you get COVID, do you know what your symptoms are going to be? Do you know if you're going to be on the vent? Do you know if you're going to recover from whatever that situation is? We don't know. And
Right.
so doing your due diligence to be proactive is always what I encourage. Reactive is what we want to do. We want to react after the fact, but we have to be proactive. And even with us, African Americans, with the hypertension, diabetes, and the hyperlipidemia, those three triplets, that's what's killing us. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we're already at a disadvantage, from not living or eating the way that we should.
Right.
These are some of the comorbidities that kind of comes along with that. And
Mm-hmm.
so I tell people, this is the first of many things that we'll possibly see. So what do we learn from it?
Yeah.
If I've learned nothing else, I've learned to make sure I embrace my loved ones, make sure I don't take anything for granted. Even as far as myself, trying to eat better, exercise, that's a struggle all by itself, but still trying to do what I know to do. And so, hopefully it's been an eye opener and it will continue to be an eye opener. But I just hope this that was what's happening with Johnson don't deter individuals from getting their vaccinations. And even if you tested positive, you should be waiting 90 days from the date of you being positive before you get the vaccination, because antibodies build up in your body for 90 days. Then you should go and get your vaccination. That way, now to say you'll have no signs and symptoms, we don't know, but do your due diligence to at least take care of yourself and protect those that are around
Wow. This is really good
you.
stuff. I know we didn't come just to talk about that, but I think it's necessary.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
necessary, in the time that we're in, not to have a doctor on and not address it is foolish to me.
yeah.
So we definitely had to address, and hear it from both standpoints.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately it's a choice, and
Yes,
like you said,
yes.
you just don't know which way it'll fall either
Mm-hmm.
way. If you contract it or you
And then,
don't, if you vaccinate or you do, you
mm-hmm.
just
But
don't
then the
know.
other thing is that what we're needing to prepare for is the behavioral health piece that is going to
Mm,
come, and it is coming. You have increased, because I deal with individuals where I treat and I care for individuals with behavioral health conditions, with the issues with abuse of drugs and different type of things, trauma. And the thing that we're seeing now, youth organizations are seeing an influx like never before of kids that are attempting suicide, kids that are
mm,
doing harm to themselves, they're trying to OD on drugs, they're running away from home because school was a safe haven for a
right,
lot of children.
right.
And when you have parents in the home that may be abusers of substances or physical, verbal, sexual, because it does
Hmm.
happen,
Right,
it gets to a point where this child feels like they have no outlet. And
right.
so the thought that comes to them is, let me just end it all because that's the easiest thing to do.
Mm,
And then with the parents feel like the youth shouldn't have anything to complain about. They feel the youth don't have bills to pay. You don't have to
right.
worry about this and the other. But we have to think about it when we were young, going to school, putting on
Hmm.
your, clothes, seeing your friends, sports. That was it, right?
Right, right.
Our son was a senior in high school. He graduated 2020. He played baseball from age 7 to 18. It was his goal to go off to Payne to play baseball. They had already accepted him the whole nine. And then COVID happened,
Hmm.
right? Everything changed. What he had been living for, so he thought, all that
Hmm.
time stopped.
Wow.
Then he began to want to make us laugh, do TikToks and all these things. And then I really had to stop and pray even more, because being in this field, I know people that really wants to make other people laugh. They do that because they're crying and dying inside.
Mm,
And so I really had to pay attention to some things. I would make sure he's eating well, sleeping, if your mood is up and down, because those are three areas of depression that we don't even think about.
hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so what we had to do was we had to shift. And as we shifted, he started to balancing out. So he started exercising more. He started skating, videoing, just doing different things. And then he knew, now my other option, I'm going to go to fire school.
Mm,
And so as parents, we had to pay more attention to just what we saw. We had to
yeah.
pay attention to what we didn't see.
Mm,
And so right now with our youth, I tell you, and that's one of the reasons why with the business that God is unfolding,
hmm.
I kept saying, I don't know if I want to deal with the youth and da, da, da. But I think a mixture. I have a good rapport, a good, connection, because they have to be able to see somebody, that was able to make it out. I've been through some things in my life, and I'm one of those providers. I don't mind being upfront. I don't mind exposing some things. I don't mind that because I feel like they have to be able to see that you've been through all of that. Well, you don't look like it. You
Mhm.
shouldn't wear it, but you
Yeah.
should identify it and deal with it.
Mhm.
So it's just going to be amazing. And I know with the government, they released a lot of funding, millions of dollars to try to boost what's going on with behavioral health. So I'm just praying that those fundings go to the right organizations and
Mhm.
those organizations do right by all cultures, all ethnicities, because I'm seeing across the board. It's not just black kids, white kids, it's your Chinese, your Asian, Spanish, Latino. It is everybody. And our
Mhm.
frontline workers, you're talking about PTSD, insomnia,
Mhm.
trauma. And
Yeah.
so preferably more will be done. And that's another thing that I kind of want to tap into. I kind of want to add that on my plate as well, being, a place where they can call in and talk and speak. They can get some words of encouragement. They need those sessions because it's tough to care for somebody else when you need to be cared for. You're not
Right.
going to be 100%. You will try, but then in that, what happens is your feelings and emotions lay dormant. And when they lay
Mm.
dormant, they come out in an inopportune time, and it's not good for you or anybody that's in that circle. So
Mm.
prayer is very important, and it's one of those things that I stand on. And I just pray that God continues to lead and guide me in those areas.
Amen. Well, let's shift gears
Okay.
slightly because I do want to talk about the book. Our time is coming up. We get into such good conversation that it's like it'd be hard to shut it down. But according to my records, your book was delivered. According to my records.
Let me see.
All right. While she's going to check for that, because I had a vision that she would open the package on the live video. Y'all know I'm prophetic. I do this, but I'm also prophetic. But while she's going to check for that, I do want to take some time and acknowledge our viewers tonight. Thank you so much for everybody. I knew it. I knew it. That's why I said, according to my records, and I had a vision that this would happen live on the camera. I had a vision.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. So I'm gonna let you go ahead. Let's get that brand new book. So for those listening, she just got her brand new book. This is so exciting. This is happening live.
It
She,
is. Oh my goodness.
she just got her book. Oh. Praise God, she got it. I wanted to see her expression. Y'all
Wow.
send up some hearts and some likes. She just became an author for the first time. Hold it up so we can see. Awesome. It looks good.
It does.
Congratulations. You are now a published author. This is so
Wow. It
good.
is. It
Y'all
really
send up some hearts
is.
and some likes. Congratulate Dr. Monica My Day Johnson.
Wow.
Yes, congratulations. Everybody sending up hearts and likes.
Thank you. You know, it's amazing when you you want to do something, but then you second guess yourself.
Hmm.
And I'll tell people it doesn't matter how strong you are, how much you're able to encourage other people. If you do not be your biggest supporter, your biggest
That's
encourager,
right.
you're doing yourself an injustice. And the the overall basis, I wanted to do this by my birthday. I'll
Hmm.
be 45 next month. And when it started out, I just said I want to do 45 bullets. Those
Hmm.
45 bullets turned into 100 and something bullets. And I can honestly say that I am glad that I didn't allow what I thought I couldn't do or wouldn't be. I'm glad I didn't allow my mind to stay in that place.
Hmm.
My day is so personal to me.
Hmm.
It's personal to me because of um, as a provider, when you are sitting in a room with someone that don't know you and you
Yeah.
don't know them, and
Mm-hmm.
they trust you.
Yeah.
And you have words that mean power.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of people that'll say, you're different, you take time. And if it was me,
Mm-hmm.
when it was a time when I was going through, when I felt like I was going to lose my everlasting mind, I needed that space. I needed to hear those words of encouragement. And a lot of times, if I couldn't get it from who was around me, I had to pull from me. And I really
Mm-hmm.
feel like my day helps me to be able to continue to know that everybody deserves a my day.
Mm-hmm.
My day has to be personal, what it means to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my day, as far as what goals and aspirations you're wanting to do that you've been in your own way of,
Yeah.
to be able to help somebody else through, because you're going to go through something, but that something doesn't have to be a repeat for somebody else if it doesn't have to be.
Right.
So
Mm. Congratulations. I just want to bring our audience in while you're enjoying that moment. They've been sending up congrats from Tanya Bates Rogers to Katrina Mixon, Tawana Denise Wiggins, Unita Scott. They're all sending up congratulations. Thank you so
um,
much for everybody listening this evening. Mary Fields, thanks for joining. Sabrina
that's my
Zinneman.
mom. That's my mom.
Ah,
And I
hey!
just want to say, my parents are my biggest supporters, but
mm,
my mom was a teenage mother. And I saw my mom work. I saw my mom struggle. And I saw my mom push her way to become a registered nurse. And I remember working at McDonald's at 15, and I wanted to pay for my mom's exam. From that day, and even before that, I can remember my mom sitting at a table in the kitchen and crying because she had $1 to her name. And I have made it my business to make sure if there's anything she needs, she will never have to cry because of what she don't have. And
mhm,
so for my mom, mama, I love you. A lot of what I do is because I want you to know that the seed that you planted in me is a growing seed, not only just for me and mine, but those that I'm able to reach. So I love you. You're my sugar mama. And a lot of this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you.
wow. Thanks for joining, Mom. Mother, I call all mothers Mother. Thank you for joining, Mother Fields. Thank you, thank you. Who else is on? I didn't call. Jal Evans, thank you for joining and leaving us a comment. Who else am I missing? Let's see. Bobby Robinson, thank you for joining. I don't know if everybody's still on with us. Sabrina Boardley, thanks for joining, Sabrina. Bobby Robinson, thanks for joining. But yes, y'all can still like and share and tag the video. It's been an awesome conversation. I am putting the link in the comments, and it's also in the description where you can go and pre order your copy. So the link I just put it in the comments. Make sure you get a copy of My Day. It is 120 positive, encouraging affirmations to live by. I know she's gonna look at that book and tear it apart. We we gotta we gotta critique it because we get excited when we first get it, but then it's like, oh, let's fix this, let's change this, let's do this. So I already know that's coming, but it will be ready by the launch. I'm so excited. I'm so happy for you. You are the first author in your family.
Yes,
And are you the first doctor in your family?
I am a doctor of nursing. I am.
Wow. So the first author, the first doctor, and you made history in the UNF.
The University of North Florida, being the first African
Yes.
American female to pass their boards. Yes.
Yes, so you're a three-time history maker. That is an awesome legacy to leave
Yes.
in the earth. Y'all go and pre-order your copy. Her site, we're still tweaking her website, so it'll be up shortly. But you can follow that link and go and pre-order your copy. And if you are in the city of Jacksonville, video. You can pick it up at her book sign, and I'll let her talk about that. But I'm so excited for you. I love working with people like you who do what they're supposed to do. Let me
Thank
say
you.
that. She has been on top of her game since day one. So I appreciate that. I appreciate how she has respected me through the process, asking for advice, taking the advice, listening. So I'm going to let you talk about your legacy because we're coming up on the hour. I want you to talk
Mhm.
about your legacy and how people can find you with the book and all that kind of good stuff.
So on the 8th of May, which is the day before Mother's Day, the number 8 means new beginning. So that's really why I'm wanting to do that. The month of May is mental health month. So that's the other month, the reason why I'm doing it in May, and also my birthday is in May. So there will be two different spots that we'll be at, and we're going to put up that information. One will be that morning, I believe, from 10 to 12 out in Orange Park, and then from 1 to 2, it'll be on this side of town,
Mm-hmm.
north side. And then that evening for close family and friends, I am having it where I am doing like a dinner, where I want to give it back. I want to pay it forward for people that have supported me, knowing and unknowingly. So those are going to be some of the things that we're doing. The other thing I'm going to be doing, those that are going to be ordering their books early, I'll be able to see hopefully who is ordering, because each week I'm going to take your name and put it into a hat.
Hmm.
And then I'm going to pull out from that hat each week. So depending on how many books you buy, one, two, three, four, five, to bless somebody
Mm-hmm.
else with, your name will continue to go into that hat. Prizes will be given, and they're going to be great prizes. Anybody know me? I don't have step with anything.
Mm-hmm.
My podcast for Dr. My Day will also be going live as well, the first Monday in May. And so there's a lot of things that are going to be coming forward and out. So that's going to be what's happening with that. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Did I say that right? That Twitter just came out wrong. Twitter. Uh,
You said Twitter. That was your southern drawl coming out.
listen, that's that Florida twang. But
Ah.
I can be contacted in that. Mentoring, and going out and speaking, doing those type of engagements. That's also something that I'm looking forward to doing as well. So information will be coming forward, showing where you guys are able to come out. And again, as many people that can come out and support me on May 8th at either one of those events, I would really appreciate it. It would really bless my heart. I am one that know if I reach one, I can teach one. So in all of it, I know God will get the glory.
Amen. Amen. So if you pre-order and you're in Jacksonville, you can pick up your pre-order at the book signing when you follow her to those two locations. The second one is small cakes. You said north side, but just so everybody knows, the flyers are going to go up on IBG's page, her page, everywhere it's going to be up. But it is small cakes on the north side in the River City for that
Mhm,
second location. So we're so
mhm.
excited. We're gonna wrap up. I hate to wrap up, but we got a 7 o'clock interview coming up shortly.
Yes.
Show that book one more time to encourage someone. This book is 27 years in the making. So
Yes.
everybody who's making an excuse why you cannot do it, I don't care how many years it takes. It
Yes.
can be done. It took me 10 years to get my first book, over 10 years really, to get my first book done. So this is a phenomenal accomplishment. Congratulations from IBG Publications. We are so
Thank you.
proud to have been able to help you through the journey. The universe is the limit. I don't want to say the sky's the limit because that's not enough of a limit.
Exactly.
So we're gonna say
Exactly.
beyond the universe, everything that God has for you, we are just believing for your ultimate level of success. Do you have
Thank
any final words before we sign off for tonight?
Do not forget, get this book in order to get your encouraging words to teach and show you how you can turn May Day, a distress call, into my day by removing stressors that causes anxiety, depression, and thoughts that we should not have. Reach one, teach one. That is my goal, and that's what I will continue to do as long as I have breath in this body.
Amen. Amen. And Tanya says she wants one. Tanya Bates Rogers. Tanya, there's a link in the comments and there's also a link in the description. And Nita Dickerson says congratulations. She just
Thank
joined as
you.
well.
I
All
love
right.
you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining this special edition. I could not let the week go by without getting our special guest on today, Dr. Info, coming soon. Follow her social media platforms, website. She is getting ready to take the world by force. Y'all better listen to that name, Dr. Because it is going to be synonymous across the world. I'm telling y'all, you better follow her now because she getting ready to blow up big time. She getting ready to blow up. So we thank God for you. Thank you all for joining. We actually will be back in a few minutes. We have another guest coming up at 7 o'clock. So God bless y'all. Thank you so much for joining the Working Wednesdays broadcast.